Good morning, everybody. It's so lovely to be with you this morning as we do this morning's devotion. And this morning, I'd like to look at the topic of how you and I can deal with the rejection that happens in our lives. So often you and I experience rejection from others, and it's really tough when we do. I remember when I was at school and we used to, sometimes during sports sessions or PE lessons, we used to have maybe two learners who were chosen to choose two teams that were going to be used for that session. And I remember standing there thinking, oh my goodness, am I going to be the only one left? Or are these people going to choose me to be part of their team? And I remember standing there thinking, if I'm the last person standing here, the one that nobody wanted, but just gets put into a team, and just that whole anxiety of being rejected. And it is such a deep desire in each and every one of us, in every human being, to be loved and be accepted. We want to be loved. We want to be accepted. And when we're not, it's almost like there's a disruptance in our emotional well-being. It's like all of a sudden where we get accepted, we feel protected and safe. Whereas when we're not and we get rejected, it's almost like we're feeling a little bit unsafe and not as protected as before. And this morning I'd like to look at an account that we find in Luke 9. And it's the account that actually starts from verse 51 and moves on to verse 56. And it would be so lovely if you can go and read that. But what happens in this account is that Jesus is on his way to Jerusalem. He knows what is going to happen in Jerusalem. He knows that what is waiting for him there is persecution, is death. Yet he continues. He continues to go to Jerusalem because he knows that it's part of God's mission for him. And what happens is when they're on their journey, he knows that they're going to pass through a Samaritan village. And at this time, there's a lot of tension between Jews and Samaritans. Yet Jesus never had those prejudices. And so he wants to stop over and expects a bit of hospitality in the Samaritan village. And he sends some messengers ahead of him. And they come back to say, no, actually, we are not welcome in this village. And they will not welcome Jewish travelers. And straight away, James and John, who have been traveling with Jesus, react and they go to Jesus' defense and they say, Jesus, we've been rejected. We need to do something to these people. He says, let's call down fire from heaven and destroy these people. And Jesus' response straight away is, no, we are not going to do that. And in other transcripts, it says that Jesus says in this time, what are your hearts looking like? Actually, I, the Son of Man, have come to save people, not to harm them. And it's such a lovely response from Jesus and such an amazing example of how you and I need to react to rejection. Is that we need to react in a way that we are here to love people, to save people, not to harm them. Not to retaliate in revenge, but actually to love them like Jesus would, like Jesus reacted. And straight after he's rebuked the disciples about the way that they reacted, he continues on his way to Jerusalem. But I love the question of how are your hearts looking that you reacted like that? When Jesus says to James and John, do you know what your hearts look like in that reaction? And I think so often when you and I have experienced rejection, or in the future when we do or are rejected by others, we need to examine our hearts. We need to go to God in prayer and say, Jesus, what does my heart look like? Make my heart like yours, because I don't want to react to people in a way that is not Christ-like. As a follower of Jesus, you and I should want to react in the way that Jesus would. And so we need to get our hearts into a place that is how Jesus would want our hearts, not a heart of revenge, a heart of love for the people. in Colossians 3, we've been looking at that text this week, and there's such beautiful attributes in Colossians 3 that it encourages us to clothe ourselves with these attributes. Just like you and I would put our clothes on each morning, it encourages us to clothe ourselves with compassion, with mercy, with kindness, with humility, with gentleness, with patience, and most importantly, it says in this verse, with love. And so when you and I are clothing ourselves with these incredible attributes, our hearts will be in a place not to react in revenge, but rather to react to rejection in a place of compassion and mercy and kindness and humility and gentleness and patience. And most importantly, we will react in love. If we fill our hearts, when we clothe our hearts and clothe ourselves with those amazing attributes every single day, we are going to be reacting as Jesus would. There have been many instances in my life where I've shared about Jesus with people, or I've invited them to church events or sparkle events, which are our ladies' events, or anything of that kind, and I've been rejected. Or when I've just mentioned that I'm a Christian, I've been rejected. Or any other circumstance, even if it's out of our Christian walks, of other things, we may have been rejected by people for certain things and not accepted into a group or not accepted for who we are. And this hurts. It's hard. But I have been encouraged by God through rejection is to just keep reacting in love. And I was so encouraged just last year. One of the people who I know many times I had spoken to about Jesus, I'd invited to different events, and time again, I had been rejected. Yet my reaction to this person was love. I loved them. And it was so incredible to be part of this person's baptism last year. They have come to know Jesus. They are now themselves a follower of Jesus. And it is just so amazing to see that actually when we don't react in revenge, when we react in love, when we don't want to harm the person, but we want them saved, that we react in a way that Jesus did. So I really hope this morning that you've been encouraged that when we experience rejection in our lives, to react with those beautiful attributes that we see in Colossians 3. And so have a lovely day, be encouraged by this word, and please don't stop being in touch with us. Write your comments down below if you need prayer or if you have a question. We'd love to be in touch with you. So have a lovely day.